I read it, and I didn't think twice about it. So I respected the fact that he responded to the fan. Lacob has always been a more hands-on owner. That's always been part of the conversation as far as the Warriors go. Kerr's going to do what he's going to do. Dunleavy's going to do what he's going to do, and things will just keep moving.
Let's start with the email that has now gone public between a Warrior fan and Joe Lacob. It's cool that he's that accessible. It's cool that he cares that much. Everybody agrees with that. And there was nothing in there that was like inflammatory. But I do, and I think we all wonder, how did you translate him saying things like style of play, coaches' decisions and feelings about certain players? Nick, where is this directed in your mind?
I read it when it started popping up this morning, Mark, and I didn't think twice about it at all. My first thought was, well, this is Joe Lacob being a guy who's very passionate about what that team is doing and their struggles. I respected the fact that he responded to the fan because and it's interesting in the context what we're talking about, the Bucks, the Panthers. Fans have feelings too. I mean, they're part of how this whole thing runs. It's why we all have jobs. People are really, really into this Warriors team because the standard has been as high as it's been for so many years. So as far as that went, I respected that he talked to the fan. I couldn't believe that, the guy made it public. But as far as hidden meanings and what was said, personally, I can only speak for myself. I didn't think much into it because Lacob has always been a more hands-on owner. That's always been part of the conversation as far as the Warriors go. Kerr's going to do what he's going to do. Dunleavy's going to do what he's going to do, and things will just keep moving.
And things will keep moving, but he says that he is, quote, working on it. And if you're trying to work on it for this year ahead of the deadline and JK Day is coming up on Jan 15, what can he actually do to work on it to the extent that this can actually be better than what it is?
Dibs, your guess is as good as mine. and that's really where we can get into the entire conversation, not just the last week, but where this team is at. Because, guys, I hold to this. And quickly, let's remind everyone, on January 15th, I would be shocked if the calendar flips into the day and the deal's going to go down now. So everybody just take a deep breath because I just don't think that is the case, but it is the one that so many fans have had circled for so long. As far as potential deals go, guys, I don't think there is a deal that takes the Warriors from where they're at right now, 13 and 14, a mediocre team, to the place everybody wants them to be. To me, the deal that would be the most fascinating, certainly, and would create the most interest is Giannis. And that's a conversation all three of us have been having for years. It was always Giannis and Steph. How's that going to go? Could it actually happen? Who knows? But it's more tangible, at least the mirage of it, than it's ever been because of what's going on in Milwaukee. I mean, that thing just looks like a mess that's headed in him getting traded at some point. Whether it happens in the next few weeks, whether it happens later, we'll see. But that is the deal that would have the most intrigue. But I think everybody is understanding of the fact that it's Kuminga, it's Draymond, more than likely. If that were to go down, it's every pick that they have. It's whatever else Milwaukee wants. Is that the best deal that they can get for Giannis? Personally, I don't think so. But I would much rather, Dibs, this gets to the core of what's going on. I'd much rather have people who care. Joe Lacob cares. Steve Kerr, Mike Dunleavy, they care. They want the best for the group. That's not the case with all teams, certainly not the case with teams in the league, because for a lot of people, it's the bottom line. It's the money. These guys want to win. They want to improve what's going on. Again, I just don't see them taking it from where they're at to where they want to be.
But how are they all doing with each other, Nick? Right? Like Mike, Joe, Steve, Steph, Draymond, Jimmy, Jonathan. How are they all doing with each other?
Mark, I would answer your question this way because it's fresh in my mind, and I got back from practice an hour and a half ago. I asked Moses Moody today. He was sitting at the podium. His conversation was about to the end with reporters, and I said, Moses, how are you guys doing? How is the group doing together? Mark, I'm telling you, he paused for 5 or 6 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, is the mic not working? Like, I was like, whoa, what's going on?
Is he going to start crying? Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, what is happening? It was weird. Like, it was like, whoa, okay. I'll give him this. He didn't want to just say something like, oh, yeah, everything's fine. And I'll always give an athlete credit for trying to put context behind what everybody's feeling. I think what he said makes lots of sense, though. He's like, nobody's really happy with the record, of course, but he said it's a bunch of grown men who are trying to figure it out. And so all the characters in the play, they're all interesting. Mark, this is the most interesting 13 and 14 team to me that I've ever seen in my life. The amount of content, the amount of intrigue, it's every single day. But I would bring it back around to an hour and a half ago because I think internally everybody's trying to figure it out. What was been fascinating the last couple of days is Steph goes absolutely nuts in Portland, 12 threes, he's awesome, and they lose. When that starts to happen and you start to see guys, because our job as reporters is to ask what's going on, and they're kind of like, we're trying as hard as we can, we just cannot find the rhythm. That's where it gets even more interesting. So I don't think that they have the answer. I think they're trying to find it still. I don't get the sense, at least right now, that everything's kind of breaking apart behind the scenes. But there is nonstop interest in a team because of the characters in play and because of the years that they've put together in the past. But every day there is some new storyline, and there is so much interest because of the fan base out here in the Bay.
And is part of the interest and the intrigue in that players 4 through 12 don't know if they're going to be in or if they're going to be out. It reminds me a little bit of Wu-Tang Clan, Nick, where you had, a couple of the big-time frontliners and everyone else is fighting for their bars and fighting for their verses. It's kind of like that where if you're Pat or if you're Gee or if you're, I guess Pods is the golden child, but the rest of them, nobody really knows when they're going to get their bars.
I just want to take a moment and, Dibs, this is why you make the big bucks, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
You just got Pat Spencer, Guy Santos, and Pajemski in a Wu-Tang reference.
Thank you.
That is incredible. And that is why you guys are great at what you do. To answer what's going on, I think that's a huge part of it. We know seemingly night to night what Steph, what Draymond, and what Jimmy, although I think he needs to be more assertive offensively. But in theory, you know what you're going to get from those three guys. The rest of the roster night to night is just kind of up for grabs. And I know people laughed a couple weeks ago, guys, when I was like, I really think Steve Kerr's going to ride the hot hand. That's exactly what he's done. He's basically said to these guys, whoever is playing well, I'm going to reward you. You are going to get your chance. It's happened over and over again this year. The problem is, and I thought he was very honest in this before and after that game in Portland, the separation between 4 through 12, 4 through 13, just isn't that much. There just are not a lot of guys consistently providing the same performance. I think it's a huge reason why the Warriors are at where they're at. It's a huge reason why Dunleavy and Lacob are trying to figure out what to do next. But if you're really trying to read what's happened this year, the short version is Steph is still incredible, but he's already missed 9 games. Draymond, we know what he's giving you defensively, but the lineup absolutely does change offensively when he's out there on the floor. And Jimmy still has shown moments, but he hasn't been the dominator they need him to be, especially offensively. When you combine those things with the fact that there's not a lot of separation behind them from the rest of the group, you have a mediocre team, which is exactly what the Warriors are right now.
I guess my question is, how did we get here? Why does Jimmy this year not look like Jimmy last year?
I think the biggest issue there, Mark, is that Jimmy still hasn't even been here a year within the system. And I thought Kerr was just deflecting for not just Jimmy, but all the players, because he's saying, I haven't done a good job. I mean, fans jumped all over that, but I think the reality is he's done about as well as can be expected given what the players have shown. The players will tell you how a team looks on a daily basis. And the players this year with this group just haven't played up to the level of their capabilities most nights. Or the flip side of that, Mark, is maybe they have, and that's the problem. They're just not as good as everybody hoped that they would be. Specific to Jimmy, though, I think the problem is he's trying to figure out still in his mind, how can I do what I do best in this system where Steph, as he's called him himself, is the ultimate cheat code. When Steph's out there, and you saw it a little bit in Portland the other night, there's now almost this like awe, like, oh my gosh. And maybe there always was, but I think guys had a better feel because they had played with him a little bit longer on how to work around and kind of fill in the gaps. I think Jimmy's still trying to go through that in his mind. I absolutely believe he has another level within him. We've seen it, and the nickname is what it is, Playoff Jimmy, for a reason. Mark, the problem for Jimmy is the Warriors need him to be that guy now. The Warriors have problems offensively. They have problems generating things outside of Steph. We saw that very clearly at times throughout the year, but even late in that Portland game, it was like other guys need to be able to make shots even when you were scoring 131. Jimmy has the ability to do that. I think he's just trying to feel things out. He is always big on making the right basketball play. The reality for where Jimmy and the Warriors are at right now, though, is the right play, even when Steph's on the floor sometimes, is for Jimmy to assert himself, get to the rim, and make things happen on his own. He does not want to do that maybe in game 28 or 29. He holds that more for the playoffs. They need to tell him, hey, Jimmy, we need you to click in here, because if we keep losing these games now, we all know where they're headed, and that's a play-in land that they don't want to be in. So I think he's got a different level within him still. I think he's capable of it. I'm just worried that I don't know if he can do it night by night. If you're a Warriors fan, you need the old Jimmy Butler from 3-4 years ago. I don't know if that's a possibility at this stage in his career.